Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is just kind of laid back informational session about distinguished young women, and our current Texas representative, Fifi, is going to give her experience through the whole program and what this past year has been like for her, her nationals experience, and be able to answer any questions you guys might have about participating in the program. I think it's a little bit more impactful coming from someone who is currently living in the experience rather than necessarily coming from me. I can just talk the talk, but she is actively walking the walk. So she is going to give us her experience for tonight. And then at the end, if anyone has any questions, feel free. Fifi and I will both be able to answer anything you might have. We are recording for our friends who will be watching this later. Thank you guys for still joining us after the fact. But for now, I will go ahead and turn it over to Fifi.
Perfect. Thank you, Katie. Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me well? Thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. My name is Fifi Pramitha, and I'm the current Distinguished Young Woman of Texas for the class of 2026. And thank you all so much for joining today. I'm so excited to share all of my experiences from the state program and nationals, but also just a glimpse into my senior year because I know a lot of y'all are, well, about to experience that senior year experience. I just said that twice. It's creeping up around the corner, but super excited. I'm going to start off with a little bit about me. So, I'm an incoming freshman at the University of Texas at Austin, and I'll be studying at the Macomb School of Business. I'm also a fifth degree black belt in Taekwondo, and I've been doing that for about 14 years. And alongside that, I'm a self-defense and Taekwondo instructor. I'm also a major music lover. I love going to concerts, and my next concert that I have lined up is Harry Styles in New York City. So that'll be an amazing birthday gift. I'm so excited. I also play the guitar and the piano, and I've been really into singing and songwriting recently. And for the Distinguished Young Woman of Texas program, I won the categories of the interview, scholastic, and fitness. And I also won the overall DYW award. But first, here's a quick senior year recap, just focusing on the last few weeks of my senior year that really wrapped it all up for me. Starting off with my senior prom, it was so much fun, and I had a big friend group to go with, but my date was just my best friend. So it was just such an awesome time. And I also won an award. As you can see, I won Most Likely to Succeed. And that was also such a meaningful moment to me because I'm a part of my student body, class officer. So, um, getting all of those votes and the support from people and all my peers, was just very meaningful. Next up was Senior Sunset, which was such a bittersweet moment where all of your friends are rolling into the field and we have all of our college commitment um, gear on. But I had so many amazing photos for it that I need to get ready for my dorm soon. But also our senior awards. So I'm from Katy ISD, which is right outside of Houston. And for the Senior Awards of Excellence, only 12 students from each high school can be nominated to win an award. And I got the Social Sciences Award, and I love history and all things social studies. So that was very meaningful to me as well. Um, and my parents are rocking the Indonesian gear. My dad has this traditional tie, and my mom is wearing this beautiful skirt. But that was a moment that really wrapped up all of my high school years. And finally, graduation, of course. On the left side, because I am a class officer, I had a speaking part for my graduation. So I performed the Pledge of Allegiance and the Pledge of the Texas flag in front of all 800 students and their families. And it was just truly like a tribute to my parents as well for all the sacrifices that they've made to make sure that I could get to where I am today. And then the right side is just a picture that I'm literally going to show this picture to my kids. I love it so much. But it's just some of my best friends and I. And I actually move into my dorm next Saturday at UT. So everything is just moving so fast. And I think my biggest tip for y'all going into senior year is to really savor the moment because it all slips away in literally a snap. Okay, so leading up to the state program, I applied to Distinguished Young Women of Texas after the 2025 showcase. I found a link online in February, and then March 1st was the showcase. And I took my dad there. He had no idea what he was getting into. But whenever we showed up, we watched how incredible the showcase was and seeing everybody just excel at what they do best. Immediately, I made them count that night and I applied for DYW. It was also really cool because there was a girl at the 2025 showcase who did a martial arts performance, and that really got to me. Like, I could totally do something like that too. Just because I wouldn't really think that martial arts was the typical type of like fine arts presentation. I finished my college applications by October, which is super early, but a lot of Texas schools, like whenever you apply earlier and then you find out sooner as well. And because of that, I was definitely more stress-free throughout the rest of my senior year. So that's also a good piece of advice. But I'm also still like a teenage high school girl, so I dealt with so many extracurricular activities and clubs, as well as working a part-time job. So there were a lot of moments where I felt very overwhelmed. And I think that having a support system, whether that be like your friends at school or your family or even just the people here at DYW, having that support system is so important. And then, of course, I spent time with my friends and family, which is my favorite thing. And here's a throwback from the state showcase in 2025. So this was during my junior year of high school. And then you can see I'm holding the book that Grace Chu is the cover of. She's the DYW of Texas for 2024. And this is the moment that Cynthia won. And I remember just feeling like all the feels. I definitely got really emotional because even though I wasn't with those girls, you could still feel that sense of sisterhood, even just from watching that present or just watching that showcase. And now on to my experiences from the Texas State Showcase. I had so many fun moments, but these are just the ones that I remember the most. But first, we have doing icebreakers with the girls. We did a bingo just to see like what you have in common with the others. And then also, whenever I finally got my fitness routine down, because as I was practicing, I had some little bumps in the road where I couldn't nail a certain push-up, or maybe I couldn't get my foot straight enough. But we had so much time in rehearsal to really go through that fitness routine. And I feel like everybody got a really good amount of like attention whenever it came to like what details you needed to fix. Then meeting the judges during my interview was also one of the highlights of state, just because the judges from Distinguished Young Women will always be very accomplished people. And it's very meaningful knowing that they've gone out and they've done such great things in the world and they're giving their time to see all the potential that we have as a community. And then one thing that I did with my dressing room girls is we would just play Olivia Rodrigo music and we would just sing, and it was so much fun, kind of like a relief from any like tension or stress that might have been going on. And I know Olivia Rodrigo just released her new album recently too, which that has been on repeat for me lately. I love it so much. But then like I said before, having a support system is so important. So my parents came out to support me, as well as my sister, some of my Taekwondo students, and then some of my best friends. They all came to support me because our state program was only about a 40-minute drive from where I live in Houston. So anytime that I was having to speak or do my talent, so on and so forth, you could just hear a certain section going a little bit crazier than everyone else. But that was so meaningful to me, having that support system. And then, of course, experiencing the best sisterhood because everyone is meant to be there. And I'm still very close with a lot of the girls from state because I'm just so like in awe of everything they do. And a lot of them are actually going to the same college as me. So I'm going to go into university already having kind of like a set group of friends who I can just kind of see around campus. And here are some pictures from my state showcase. Top left is me and Cynthia. And that was another like blessing in disguise that came from DYW is she is just a big sister to me. Never had a big sister, but now I know what it feels like to have one. And then all of the girls from rehearsals, and then my family as well. And you can see my sister has like teary eyes. It's so funny. But down here at the bottom left, we have the judges, and they were all so sweet. And I think for every girl after the interview, they came out extremely like just relieved because the judges were very kind to everyone. So it was just not, it was just wasn't stressful at all. And then this picture is my like my favorite picture ever. I think it just totally encapsulates girlhood and like what it means to be the distinguished young women is that you're representing so many winners. So it's like a representative for an entire group of distinguished young winners. And then the bottom right is my dressing room group. And we had such a great time. I love these girls literally forever. But I can't wait to see all the amazing things that they're going to go out and do in the world. Some takeaways from my state showcase is because it occurred during like the middle of my senior year, it was during MLK weekend. I was more motivated to finish off my senior year on a stronger note just because I was around so many people who are so ambitious and motivated that it also motivated me to just stay strong whenever it came to grades. But I also had greater confidence in my public presence and speaking skills because you don't get very many opportunities to speak on a stage in your life unless you go out and seek for those opportunities. And I think Distinguished Young Women is such a great opportunity to practice speaking and performing in front of a crowd. So whether that be through your self-expression question or in a more intimate setting like the interview, or even just performing your talent, which is what you do best. Through Distinguished Young Women, it's given me the opportunity to be my best self without having to like be nervous about it, because everyone's just going through this big sisterhood. And also, it's given me a lifelong family from this DYW network. Um, and what I mean by that is, even like whenever you go on to the future, you never know when you're going to come up across someone who has been involved with DYW or, um, just has been like a judge for DYW. Like an example of the network would be like Lindsay Sterling. I think she plays the violin. She was a distinguished young woman from, I forgot what state, but there are some women from DYW who just go on and do incredible things. So I'm really excited to see where this DYW network takes me in my life. And now on to my most recent favorite part is America's Distinguished Young Women National Program. And some of my special moments from nationals were meeting the girls in Mobile, Alabama, because you see them popping up on your Instagram, especially if you're following the DYW like main Instagram account. You see all these faces, and then getting to see them in person, it was just so surreal. Um, but it was a little bit awkward maybe for the first day, but then by the end of the week, we just knew everything about each other. And you would be surprised at how well you can know 50 girls within the span of a week and a half. We also got to do a lot of sisterhood bonding and community service leading up to the national program. And this is also something that I hope we can do to our state program next year, some form of like community service, because I think it's just so important to give back to your community, especially just because I've always been very supported by my community. So it meant a lot for me to do like philanthropy events. And then these are some other moments from nationals. We went to the Bellingrath Gardens. We toured the USS Alabama battleship. We went to the Gulf Shores Beach in Alabama, which is beautiful. And then we visited a local grocery store chain called Piggly Wiggly, and we did some volunteer work at the Junior League of Mobile. And so here's the opening ceremony where we first met all 50 girls, or 49 because one had to drop out momentarily. But it was super fun because we were all dressed up and we got to meet the girls on the right were the Azalea Trail Maids. I didn't know anything about them personally, but whenever I posted this on Instagram, I had so many people swiping up and saying like, "Oh my gosh, I've seen them on TikTok. I can't believe you're meeting them." So I didn't know I was in the presence of such celebrities, but it was so fun getting to know them too. At the Bellingrath Garden, I became best friends with one of the trail maids, which is so crazy to think about, but I had a lot of fun there getting to experience the nature in Alabama. It's such a green place because it is a little bit rainy, but I also think it's really similar to Houston, and everyone is all dressed up, looking beautiful. Then this was that same night from the USS Alabama battleship tour, and we were all dressed up in our Western clothes. So I had like cowboy boots on and stuff. And some girls were like, I'm not used to wearing boots. Like, this is so weird to me. But from the South, like, you get pretty used to wearing Western clothes. But we also got to do some line dancing that night, which was so much fun. And we got to eat barbecue. So it was like a taste of home. And then whenever I talked about the junior league, I meant like volunteering and philanthropy work, but I was assigned to volunteer at the food pantry, and we packaged applesauce cups to put in like food bags for people in need. But this was super fun just because we got to like experience the sense of sisterhood while also helping the community. And one of our volunteers was also playing like Disney and like musical stuff like Hamilton and everything. So we got to just sing our hearts out. But you experience so many little like special moments through distinguished young women of Texas and at the national level. So I feel like all of these experiences have really built like my character, who I am now. And then at Gulf Shores, the picture on the right is me and my distinguished young women roommate, who is from South Carolina. And that's us with the national representative, Nikita Chinchokler, from, I think she's from Oregon, but she's currently at the University of North Carolina. She is truly one of the sweetest people I've ever met. But this day was super fun because it was so much more like chill, laid back before we got into all the craziness of the actual showcase. We had an oyster eating contest, and not trying to brag, but I had half an oyster. So that was pretty intense for me just because I'm not really an oyster girl. But the girl who won, I think she had over 30 of them because she ate so many within the span of 5 minutes. This was also such a great experience because the restaurant that we were at, it's called Winsel's, they have been sponsoring Distinguished Young Women for like forever. So on the walls, they have the pictures of every national representative, and you can see kind of like all the different hairstyles from throughout the times. And then Nikita got to see her picture up on the wall too. And moving on to the actual like national program nitty-gritty stuff. Here is a picture of the preliminary awards. I think this was the first night of preliminary awards, but you can see all of the girls dressed up in their best outfits, all these fancy colors. And I won a preliminary award for the fitness category, which was so shocking to me just because I didn't I did not expect to win fitness, but it was so cool. Because I did work really hard to get my push-ups right and to get all the different fitness elements correct. But alongside me were the girls from Alabama, Delaware, Florida, and California. And what I also really loved about my outfits from Distinguished Young Women was that for Texas, I was sponsored by JCPenney of Katy, so they styled all of my outfits, and I think they really helped me stand out on stage. So I'm so grateful for JCPenney Katy for helping me style and look my best self, but also feel like my best self. Here are some pictures from my talent, which I am still so like in awe that I was able to do this type of talent on a national level. Um, on the left side, I'm breaking one of the thickest boards that you can break for Taekwondo. It doesn't look very intimidating, but it's definitely harder than it looks. And then on the right, I'm throwing up a fire sidekick, which at the moment, I was just so like I don't know how to explain it. I was just very like in the zone, so I didn't really know what I was like focusing on. But whenever I saw the pictures, I was just so proud of myself. Another funny moment is that I actually face planted on stage for like a split second. And whenever it happened, I genuinely was like, there's no way I just did that on a national stage. But then I got back up, and the crowd, whenever I broke my board, was electric. Like I could feel all the cheering and everything just like from the stage, like from my feet. But it was such a surreal moment, and I wish I had a video of it, but I'm just very excited to see all of y'all's talents for next year. Or if you're thinking about applying soon and you're not quite sure what talent to do, there are just so many different options, even like doing like a public speaking presentation or what I did like with my Taekwondo performance. There are a lot of different options, even if they're not like the typical like dance, piano, so like come into DYW with an open mind and be ready and like be curious for all the different possibilities. Okay, next is fitness, which I had so much fun with fitness. My number that I was randomly assigned was number 13, and the girl who actually won the entire thing, so Audrey Chen from California, was number 12. So we were always just doing fitness and rehearsing together, but she was also one of the highlights of my trip because she was just such a fun person to be around. And then whenever we both won fitness, it was so exciting, like being backstage and just being so supportive for each other. Another fun thing about fitness is that everyone will be cheering you on. Like, it doesn't matter if you feel so exhausted, the crowd will literally light up the stage and you will be so like excited to do that fitness routine. If you're currently like learning a fitness routine or like you're trying to work on like what push-ups you can do and stuff, um, I highly recommend just being consistent every day and doing a little bit more, like instead of cramming everything like at a certain moment, kind of work your way up into learning a fitness routine. Okay, next up is self-expression with my beautiful jumpsuit from JCPenney Katie. I'm just in love with this color, and what I also love about this outfit is that I know I'm gonna be able to wear it for like forever because it's just so timeless. But it also really stands out because it's not just like the typical dress that a lot of the other girls are also wearing. But my self-expression question was, if you could gain any skill, what skill would that be and why? And we had like a few hours before the showcase to create an answer and then answer it on stage. And these are the people who were cheering the loudest in the crowd. So grateful for them. So on the left, we have my parents and my little sister who's creeping up to my height. She's 11 and she's already planning her talent for DYW for the class of 20, I'm not sure, 2033, 2032, something along those lines. And on the right side, we have our Texas State chairs. So we have Katie, Bree, and Peyton. Literally my favorite people in the world. I've spent a lot of time with them virtually, and getting to see them in person is just like the best feeling ever. Um, but luckily, Katie lives in Houston as well, so I can find her now and then. But next up, we have the girls who I spent the most time with at nationals. And these are the girls in my yellow group. And then in the back, we have our yellow group mom. Her name's Andrea. But these girls are the minions. We are just hilarious and so funny. And um, I think the best part about being yellow is that we are all truly like rays of sunshine. I think these girls are just amazing, and I can't wait to see all the cool things that they're gonna do. And then on the right side is my girl Cynthia. It meant so much for me to have her come back to Mobile and just be that big sister for me at DYW. Um, and like anytime I was having like a moment of being a little bit stressed out, I knew that I could always come to Cynthia and she'd give me some great advice or just like give me some time to like relax around her. And then some takeaways from my nationals experience is that, first of all, it is truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. And like I said before, being a distinguished young woman is being a winner for a group of winners or being a representative for a group of winners, which is something that I cannot wait to like carry with me for the rest of my life. And it's also such an empowering journey. Like I said before, you're a representative for a group of winners. Taking the initiative to just apply in the first place is already that major step. Um, and I also have a friend in every state, which is so cool. And yesterday I hung out with the winner from the DYW, or the winner of Colorado's DYW program. And here we are on our hike. It was so cool because I texted her like, "Hey, are you in town?" And then boom, we are hiking up 3 miles. But that is just so cool to think about having the support system literally across the nation, but even just all across Texas because of how big our state is. Like anytime I want to go on a road trip somewhere, I can just hit someone up and be like, "Hey, like, are you in town?" And I can go visit them. But DYW has impacted me because, like I said, I have 49 new sisters, and the girl on the left is Cora Schnockenberg from Kansas. She is one of the sweetest people ever. And it was such a hard goodbye. Like, whenever the program ended, it's such an emotional time. But there's always someone rooting for you. And my support system has grown so much stronger, and it encourages me to become the best version of myself every day. And what I mean by that is you always have someone who believes in you so much to the point where if there's a moment where you don't believe in yourself, they will believe in you so much to the point where you start to really like become more confident in your abilities and like you're ready to take over the world. So, um, I'm very grateful and fortunate for this DYW like compassion that everyone has just radiated throughout this program. And I also wanted to talk about sponsorships because DYW is free to apply to, and it's also meant to be like as low cost as possible. So even like at the state level, we have t-shirts that are given to us sponsored by other people. Um, so we thrive on those sponsorships. And one thing that I'd love for everyone to do is to spread the word about distinguished young women because we're able to gain more support that way. I know that after I got involved with UIW, I've taken that initiative to like talk about it to more people and encourage like the class of 27 to apply, because it doesn't hurt to apply. And also like doing fundraisers. So what I did recently was I hosted a self-defense lesson and it was $15 per person, but all the proceeds from that self-defense lesson are going to go towards DYW. And as I go into college as well, I'm going to continue doing those self-defense lessons and all of the proceeds will go towards DYW Texas. So it's kind of just like a full circle moment. And I'm so happy to give back to the community that's given so much to me. But now it's time for our Q&A. And these are just some ideas of questions that y'all can ask me. Feel free to like unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, or if you want to just type it out in the chat. Um, but yeah, the floor is all yours. Let's see if I can
Hi,
figure out
Fifi.
chat.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Fifi. My name is Tammy, and I'm currently the Distinguished Young Woman of Missouri City. And I was just wondering, in the transition from the state competition to the national competition, how did the change in competition, as in like the atmosphere, the people you were surrounded with, and the overall support feel?
That's a great question. How did that change feel? I would say the atmosphere at state was very like lighthearted and just loving. And then at the national level, I think it was just a little bit more intense because, everyone's going a great distance to get to Alabama. So it's like there's a lot more, not like on the line, but it's definitely more intense. But I think what helped me the most with that is like knowing that I have support from like the whole state of Texas, like counting on me to be my best self at nationals. So even though it is a little bit intense, that support system is what really helped me get to nationals. And I think I went to nationals with such an open mind and knowing that like I'm already meant to be here and I'm a representative for an incredible group of winners, if that helps with answering that question.
Hi Fifi, I'm Sunny. I'm the Distinguished Young Woman of Allen for this year, and it's been such a privilege to kind of learn from your insights. But I just want to ask, like within the process, there's so many components of the DYW conference itself. So I'm just curious, how are you able to identify maybe things that you were better at and things that components of the competition that maybe you felt you maybe struggled with a little bit or need to improve on, and how did you go about working on that and improving yourself?
Mhm. That's also a really great question. And so there are 5 categories in DYW. We have interview, fitness, scholastic, talent, and self-expression. And I think what helped me identify my weak points would be one, practicing. So Katie would know this, but I did so many mock interviews. You have this option to go on a call with some people and doing mock interviews leading up to state. And I think that's what helped me really succeed in my interview portion. Um, but also, I would just say like I don't want to be like super vague, but like doing these different categories. So like self-expression, you're given a question a few hours in advance, and you have to answer that question in 30 seconds. Just practicing and then being like, oh, I don't know, I have like a couple bumps in this answer. Maybe I need to fix that. Or also like fitness when I was practicing, I had some push-ups that were not the best. So I had to go back and really work on those. But is taking the time to practice and I guess like evaluating the stuff that I wasn't really like the best at and then targeting those parts specifically. I don't know if that really answered that question, um, but just reevaluating yourself and like not being afraid to go back and work on the stuff that you know you need to work on, right? Thank you for that question.
I will also jump in there. Like Fifi said, she took every mock interview opportunity that we gave, and with the mock interviews, we also went through talent prep and self-expression prep, and so like every opportunity that we had, Fifi took it, and it was very evident, and she was very honest with herself and open and honest with the state team and the committee because we're your biggest resource to help and we want everyone to succeed. And so taking every opportunity um, to better yourself, Fifi really did that. And so I think that should be your biggest encouragement that no matter where you start, we are here to help you genuinely just become better young women inside and outside of this program.
And then another thing to kind of identify your weak points, there was a like an optional meeting that you could or meeting that you could join online. And basically it was just the state chairs saying the different parts of your application that you could work on a little bit more. So like for me, that was for my talent. The song that I chose the first time that just didn't make as much sense. So I chose a different song or like another piece of advice that they gave me was like before the state program was that in my interview I didn't brag about myself enough. So whenever you have an opportunity that's sent to you, just don't be afraid to take it. And if there's like maybe there's a time that doesn't work out for you, just communicate with them and they will make plans for you to be able to get that help that you need. Also like I remember another piece of feedback would be for like my scholastics. I had like a certain test score, and if I were to like super score it, it would be a little bit higher. So like they will give you some feedback for things that you can kind of improve on in a way. So take all the opportunities that you can.
Hi Fifi. First of all, I want to say it's like totally an honor to meet you because like I've seen all your posts on like Instagram and stuff, and I feel like talking to you in person is like so cool. Like I'm like internally fangirling right now. But as distinguished young woman, so of Texas, that's a really big title. And so just to like kind of understand your mindset a little bit, what's a belief that you kind of held before competing that like totally changed by the end of your year?
That's a very good thought-provoking question. So belief that I had before competing would this might sound kind of toxic, but it was just this feeling that, or like this belief that I had to be the best at everything. And that comes from me being like, just a little backstory. My real name is Zafira, and in Arabic, that means victorious. And I feel like in my life, I've always just wanted to be the best at things. And I was very, like, what's the word? I was just really bad at acknowledging making mistakes. If I were to make a mistake, I just didn't want to admit it, and I was very avoidant of it. Or if I did something and it wasn't perfect, I just wanted to completely like scrap it out of the way. But I think with DYW, it's what I've learned is that it's okay to not be perfect or to make mistakes because that just shows like authenticity and the willingness to just be better every day. So I know that's very intense, like wanting to be perfect. And it also comes with like this whole stigma of college applications. Like you want to do everything to make sure that you're like getting to where you need to be. But you also make sure that if you make a mistake, don't be afraid to just reevaluate yourself. Because we're all humans, we all have imperfections. But yeah, like even in my mock interviews leading up to nationals, like and Katie would know this. There are so many times where I said something and I slipped up and I would just be like, "Can I start over?" Or like I would just kind of freeze because I would be like, "There's no way I just said that." But like that's the whole point of like being a human is just learning from your mistakes and continuing to grow from them. So don't be afraid to make mistakes because it's okay to learn from them. Yeah. And then I have a quick question from the chat that I'm gonna read out really quickly. What were my stats for colleges? I would say there are so many things that went into college application season, but my big thing is I'm going to UT Austin and I was not automatic admission. I didn't have perfect test scores. So when it comes to stats, I really think it's just be yourself and show that there's so much more to you beyond like what your GPA is or what your class ranking is. So in your essays and your activities, just show your most authentic best self. And if you all have any more questions about like college and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to just send me a message on Instagram because I'm more than happy to help out with that too. Anything else?
Yes, hi. I'm Ellie. I'm the DYW from Harris County. Definitely so nice to meet you. I was actually at the state showcase, so it was like I definitely heard like a lot more cheers in one area of the audience. So also definitely feel you with the push-ups thing. That's like a work in progress.
Mhm.
But I guess like my question is about like self-expression. I know that um so you're given this period of time before you're supposed to answer this question, and I was wondering if you could kind of walk through your thought process or your creative process in drafting and memorizing a response that
Mhm.
would stand out on stage.
Yes. So for us, our self-expression question was, I might be wrong, but it's how do you honor who you are today by like honoring who you will become tomorrow? Something of that line.
Yeah. It was
Um,
honoring who you are today while becoming who you are meant to be.
there we go. Yes.
I
Which
don't know
is
why I remember
very
that.
yeah, I remember whenever we first got the question, I was like, this is just one big circle. Like, how do I answer this? Um, but we were given a whole day in advance to work on that question, but I'm not sure if it'll be a little bit different next year. But I think for me, I'm not the best whenever it comes to like memorizing or public speaking because, like I said before, I will freeze up on stage sometimes. So I kind of had my speech, or not my speech, my self-expression in like certain parts. So I could be like, okay, this is my first talking point, this is my second talking point, this is my third talking point. And I think the question that they gave us was so great because it allows you to talk about yourself in the current moment while honoring who you are going to become later. And I think for any self-expression question, it's really important to acknowledge where you're at now and then acknowledge how that will better yourself in the future. And for self-expression, I think it's really important to have a personal example in how you've grown from it and how that will impact who you will become in the future, if that makes sense. I think that's a pretty good like frame to have. Personal example, your takeaways from it, and how you will um, grow from that. I hope that's a good way to answer that question.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much.
But I was also DYW of Harris County last year, so that means so much that you came to the state program.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Yeah, of course. I was like, I felt kind of like out of place there because I was like with my mom and we kind of like huddled in the back. But
oh, that was me with my dad.
it was,
That
yeah,
was me
it
with
was
my
a good
dad. Mhm.
experience. Yeah.
But whenever I went to the state program for 2025 with my dad, that was March 1st. I remember my dad being like, "What are you dragging me to right now? Like, what are we doing?" Because he didn't really know much about it either. But whenever we showed up, he was just like in awe because um I guess the way that I described DYW to my dad was like it's a pageant, but the people there are way cooler. And it's all like senior high school girls, which is amazing because we're all in the same boat. Um and we're all kind of going through the same things. So whenever he got to watch the state showcase with me, he also just felt very like inspired by it. And I'm so excited to see all the cool things that you guys are gonna do this year. Like I just can't wait. But yeah, my dad and I were also kind of like huddled in the back and feeling a little bit out of place, but I think it was so worth it that we got to go there. Any more questions?
Yeah, I'm Shanaza from Houston, Texas. This is my first time hearing about this program, so I was wondering how much would it cost out of pocket, and do we have to drive from location to location personally?
Okay, so first of all, that's a great question as well. Thank you. It should be free to apply. And then because Texas is so big, I think the good part about it is that we have a lot of our stuff virtual, like thanks to the beauty of Zoom. So you can like do all of our interviews are virtual, and if you ever need to just like hop on a meeting to talk to someone from DYW, you can do that in just a second. But the state program is going to be where you'll have to drive to. So I'll let Katie take over for that one really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first round, the first part of Distinguished Young Woman is going through either a local program or our at-large program. And that is going to be held virtually for you. So if you are chosen as a representative during our at-large program, then you are invited to come to the state program, and that will be held in January. And we are in final contracting stages with the venue, and then we'll announce where that's located. But in terms of what it costs to be in the program, it's nothing. That is one thing that we really love to advertise about our program is it's completely free to enter for all participants. And then we try and make everything that is outside of the program as low cost as possible. Like for the state program, we get a hotel block for all the families to get major discounts if you are having to travel from another area of the state. We get all of your attire sponsored or any attire that you might have to wear for the program. We try and pick something that you already have in your closet so you don't have to get any kind of new attire or anything crazy off the wall that you need a purple wig. Like we don't try and get you anything that you don't already have in your closet. But then if there are any kind of things that you might need for the program once you do come in person, if you're named a representative and you come to the state program, then just talk with the committee and we try and make everything as zero to low cost as possible. But in terms of the actual program itself, costs nothing to enter.
Thank you.
Okay.
I also have another question about the showcases. What talents can you perform? Can you perform like pageantry, like sports, like painting art?
Okay, so your talent is 90 seconds from your first position, and that's a really cool thing how you said painting art because in the 2025 showcase, there was a girl who did like speed painting, and she painted this canvas like it was very abstract when she painted it super quickly, and then she turned it upside down, and it was like a portrait of someone. And I was blown away because I was like, there's no way this just happened in 90 seconds. Like I can barely draw a straight line. But that is just how like interesting and like cool the different talents are. So, yes, you can do like fine arts, you can do the whole turning your canvas and have an upside down portrait form of art. You can do like music. I've seen a lot of girls doing like dance and ballet. And I also got a question from a private message about like the different variety of talent. And let's see.
Yeah. Fifi, I can also jump in here while you're looking for that question. I've
Mhm.
been with DYW for a long time, so I've seen many a talent. So it can be anything from an instrument, singing, dancing, I have had girls who are more athletes than fine arts. And so I've seen a CrossFit routine. I've seen soccer juggling. I've seen someone literally do soccer juggling with tap shoes on, and she made it into like a whole fun tap routine. I've seen someone make a pizza, like where she is throwing up a pizza, and yeah, she like made it into a whole fun interactive routine. I've seen science experiments. I've seen magician. I've
Wait, Katie, can I
seen
stop you really quickly? Do you
yeah.
remember who that pizza girl was? Because I need to go like reach out to her and ask if she can do like
She was
a
actually
performance
my
for me.
local program many years ago.
Oh
It was epic.
man. Hmm.
um she yeah, I've seen color guard routines. So if you have flag or rifle or sword, um really any kind
Hmm.
of talent that you think you might have, we can make it into a
Yeah.
DYW talent. I promise.
Yeah. And then also like speaking or like poetry and stuff is also an important talent. Like at the national level, someone from I think it was from Nevada, she wrote a poem and she spoke on stage and it was also just very like the content of the poetry was also very inspiring. Um, but my friend Ariana Williams, who is the DYW of Tomball for 2026, she did a short like speech about like motivation, like a motivational speech. That was also really good. So there are so many different things that you can do with talents. And if you're unsure about like a fine arts thing, you could just find something that you're passionate about and then maybe write like a poem about it or like write a short speech that's very like expressive. So there are so many different things that you can do with talent. So I did like a taekwondo performance, but for my national talent, I loved it so much because my backtrack, like the music that was playing in the background, was kind of like a story of my taekwondo journey. Um, so I kind of had the elements of like a speaking talent as well as a whole physical routine. But a talent can be something like finding what you're passionate about and writing an awesome like piece of prose about it. So, if y'all are having any like trouble with coming up with ideas, you guys are also welcome to ask us or ask the DYW people as well.
Thank you.
Of course.
Also, I have another
Mhm.
question
Ask
about
away. Mhm.
the interview. Can we, or like, is it public speaking? But can we like write on notes, like take up a note card, or
So
can we
for
only?
interview, I would say like you want to go into your interview just being like as you as possible, if that makes sense. So, um, I didn't have any note cards for my interview. I think some people might have, but I don't think it's recommended just because then
No.
it's like you might spend some time like, yeah, you might spend like time stressing about it. So, like Katie just said, we're not gonna have note cards for it, but um, there were some questions in my interview that I didn't have an answer to. So all that I had to say was like, that's something I could look more into, but I don't have an answer for that right now. And it's totally fine, like, to say that you don't know everything, because that was also like something I had trouble with for interviews. I was just so caught up with like, what if I don't have the perfect answer to this? But it's like the judges want to see you for your most authentic self. And even like during my state interview, I won that category, but there were questions where I didn't know how to answer them, and I had to be completely honest and be like, I don't have the best answer for that right now, but I will look into that later after this interview. So go into it as your most authentic whole self.
Right, thank you.
And I hope that I can also do some mock interviews with you guys. That would be so much fun. I would love to do that. Um, but let's see, any more questions?
I have a
Um,
question.
yes.
I was wondering, like, do you have chances to do mock interviews like before the state one, or is it just for nationals?
You will have plenty of chances to do mock interviews before state. And I remember I started doing mock interviews around summertime, but throughout the first semester of my senior year, I had a lot of them lined up just because I wanted all the chances that I could get to prepare for the state program. And then after I won the state program, Katie and Bree just gave me the biggest hug and they were like, all the interviews paid off. So, yes, you will have plenty of opportunities to do mock interviews. And
And,
oh, what's up? Keep going.
oh, sorry. I was just wondering, like, will those mock interviews be sent to our emails, like the opportunities?
Yes, there will be opportunities sent to you, and then you'll be able to like fill out a form of like what day or like the times that they have and like which one you want to sign up for. But like I said before, if none of those days work out for you, like don't be afraid to communicate with the people because we can always like, like make exceptions for you and stuff like that, or, like rearrange stuff if you need something done. But take all the opportunities that you can get, and I really hope that I get to be part of those mock interviews this year. That would be so fun. Okay, another question in the chat. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, someone said that they love my hair. Thank you so much. I had a lot of trouble with loving my natural hair, but I'm trying to embrace it more because the Texas heat is not very good at holding straight hair. Um, but let's see, some other things. I wanted to talk about Be Your Best Self, which is distinguished young women's like I guess platform or like the main message that they want to show or that they want every girl to take away from distinguished young women. Um, Be Your Best Self has five different pillars. So it's be healthy, ambitious, involved, responsible, and studious. And I feel like through those pillars, I've really been able to live out my senior year to the best potential. Um, but also like when you be your best self, you also just kind of radiate this energy for everyone else to become their best selves. So definitely look into the Be Your Best Self program more, and you can just search that up. But also along with some senior year advice, I said this before, but just live in the moment. I did not have like all perfect straight A pluses in my senior year. Definitely not. I had some B's in the way, but like the main thing is that I'm happy because I let myself like just take it all in. Um, and just like stay on top of your grades, but also don't forget to like take time to take care of yourself and make those meaningful memories with your family and your friends. But yeah. And then for like college application stuff, I'm always welcome. Like I always welcome people to come and talk to me about stuff like that. They want to. Um, my college application journey it was really rocky just because UT Austin was my dream school, and I know that it's been a little bit harder to get into it now. But I think Distinguished Young Women has had such a big impact on like my like motivation as well. And after I won the state program, I got like these papers of like, what was it called? Like the certificates of the different categories that I won. I scanned all of them on my notes app and then I uploaded them into my UT Austin like application thing, even though I submitted my application back in October. I don't know, I was just very excited. But um taking this step of applying for Distinguished Young Women will literally change your life. Like, no matter the outcome, just knowing that you had the courage to try something new is so great. But if anyone has any more questions, we can answer them really quickly, and then I think it'll be time to go after that.
Okay, I had a quick question. So I think we were talking about talents. So
Mhm.
I guess this might be more of a Katie question. But basically, like after hearing about all these cool talents, I was wondering if like for the state program, would I be able to change up my talent even though I already submitted my talent video?
Yes, you are welcome to. If you have gone through the spring at large class and you have already been named a representative, you are absolutely welcome to completely change your talent. You don't have to stay. If you're a dancer, you don't have to stay dancing. If you're a singer, you don't have to stay singing. You can just change your song. You can completely change your talent. It is up to you.
Thank you.
And for my talent, I didn't change like the actual aspect of it, but I did change like the music. And then as long as it got approved by the people from the state, like it's totally fine to change your talent. Yeah.
I have a question. Sorry about that. When you turn in your talent video, and then you go to the state the state pageant, do you have to do the talent video that you turn in, or is that like something else?
So you will, for the at-large program, that is when you submit your talent video, fitness, and then your interview and self-expression are done over Zoom. If you were
Okay.
named a representative from the at-large program, then you go to state and that's live. Whatever you submit for your talent video for at-large, and then you get the chance to go to state, then that's when you could change what your talent is.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll take like one more question. I'll have any more questions.
You all also have my email now, the @largetx@distinguishedYW. If you have any more questions, even if they are specific for Fifi, I will make sure she gets the questions and can answer them and send them back to you guys.
Yes. And then one more thing is, like I said before, I'm so grateful that y'all are here. And I'm excited to see like the next steps that y'all are gonna take throughout this DYW journey. Um, but just make sure that you really live in the moment. And I also recommend that you guys connect like in advance because like with the power of like Instagram and everything, you can just send a quick DM and um kind of just connect on a level earlier. That's what I did with my girls at nationals. We had a big group chat with all 49 of us, which I didn't even know that was possible. But that's why by the time we got to the national program, we kind of already knew each other. But yeah, don't be afraid to just kind of reach out earlier. There might be some girls who live near you, and you could always make some plans with them. But I got a question in the chat. You can do a quick walkthrough process of everything, like what are the next steps leading up to state and nationals preparation and etc. Katie, do you want to answer that question really quickly? Because there's a lot there.
So Sarah Grace, if I'm not mistaken, you have applied for the fall at-large program, correct? I think I recognize your name. Yes. Okay. So once you apply for the at-large program, we will send out on August 16th is a deadline to apply for fall. Once that date comes, then we will send out your fitness video to learn, your submission link for that fitness video, your submission link for talent, as well as your academic form. All of those will then be due in September. And on that date, you'll have to submit your talent video, your fitness video, your academic form, and then you will have an interview scheduled for the next week or 2 weeks past that, I believe. On the day of your interview, you will record with me your self-expression question answer. That recording will then be saved, and then you'll go into your interview with your judges. And that is a virtual interview. That's the real deal. They will score your interview, and then that week, your judges will score your academic form, your talent video, your fitness video, and your self-expression video. You will then be notified one way or the other if you were named a representative and invited to state, or if you did not quite meet the qualifications, but you will be notified one way or the other. That will happen, I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but that will happen about mid-ish October. And once the fall class is over, once all of our representatives are named from the fall class, then we will get everyone together who already qualified from the spring class, our local representatives, and the fall class. Once everyone is all together, we will have a state orientation that will be over Zoom. We'll give you guys all the information that you need to know. You'll go ahead and get your fitness video to learn. You'll have a few months to learn your fitness video and start prepping for that. We'll have mock interviews in between now and then. We'll have choreography workshops between now and then. And then the state program will be held in January in person. That is when we'll get the whole big class together of everyone, bring everyone together in person, and you will submit your academic form beforehand. And then you'll have your interview with your judges in person. That will be a closed door interview with just you and your judges. And then the state showcase will be where you do your talent, fitness, and self expression on stage. At the state program, we will name one representative. Then she will go on to nationals next summer in Mobile. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
There's a whole quick run through of the timeline of DYW.
Yeah, there's a whole lot that it sounds like a lot, that's true. Um, but the whole experience itself is just so worth it and it is very exciting. Yeah.
And really, so it sounds like a lot, but really what it is you have your local level, your state level, and your nationals level. And every time you are named a representative, you essentially redo what you have already done. So that's why it seems like a lot, because it's basically building on top of one another. So if you're named a representative at the local level, then you go to state. All of your scores completely wiped clean. Everyone goes to state as representatives, and we are choosing a winner from the representatives. And then you go to nationals, and we send one girl from Texas to nationals and 49 other young women from all the states. Everyone goes in, all scores wiped clean, and everyone gets to redo everything. And then we choose one national winner, and then that's where it stops. But essentially, it seems like a lot, but it's because you have a local, your state, and national, and you're redoing things every time. That's crazy.
But yeah, it's I think the best part about DIW is that because you've already like applied, you know everything that you're about to do coming into the state program itself, like the actual showcase. And then from the state level, like you're doing the exact same thing, if not better, at the national level. But I know like as y'all are about to go into senior year and stuff, whenever you get the chance to do that scholastic form again, do it ASAP just because your counselors are going to get so busy with so many other things going on. So I think putting that on their radar as early as you can will just be so helpful. Um, and then also make sure that you take the time to like thank your counselors and thank your teachers and educators for helping you get to where you are as well. Um, and it was so exciting coming back from the state program and telling my counselor, hey, so I won state. We have to do this again for nationals. Like she was more than happy to help me with it. But just show that gratitude because um, like believe it or not, you have a support system everywhere you go. Like I'm part of your support system, Katie's part of your support system. All of your educators who are helping you out, they are there for you, and we are just so excited to see you succeed. But I think that's where we're gonna wrap it off. But thank you all so much for coming. I've had such a great time and getting to hear from you guys. Katie, do you have any last words?
No, thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Fifi, for giving us all of your wisdom and insight. I look forward to, I'm already working with a few of you. Fifi, you mentioned having feedback calls, and we actually just started those this week. So I recognize a few of the faces on the call, and I look forward to working with everyone else in our upcoming at-large class. And or if you guys are class of 2028 or beyond, for anyone watching the Zoom recording, we look forward to working with you guys and are excited to have you all here. So thank you all. I'm happy to hang out for a little bit longer if anyone has any burning questions they still need to ask. But thank you guys.
And I'll still be on as well for a little bit, but if y'all have to head out, feel free. But thank you all so much for being here.